Hey guys, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book series review. This will be spoiler free, in case you're wondering. And that book series I just recently kind of reread for my birthday month in August, and that is the Horse Angel series by Dorsey. This is a middle grade adventure kind of supernatural series. And yeah, I just thought I would, since I read the whole series, I figured why not, I will just go ahead and do a review on my channel for the books, kind of help promote them and stuff, because even though they don't really make these editions anymore unless you can find them used, the author still indie publishes them. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to the series because it's really good, and just, yeah, review it. And we'll see how this goes, because I'm not the greatest with like descriptions and long reviews, so we'll just see how this runs, and if you guys like it, I can do this for other series or even standalone books. So yeah, we'll see how this goes and plan from there. Okay, so I wanted to give a little background of this series. This series was originally, especially these editions, were originally published by Staubenfeld for Pony Book Club, which was a book subscription box that ran. Staubenfeld is located in Norway, so they had a division that in English translated to Pony Book Club here in the North America, at least in the States. I'm pretty sure they were in Canada too, but yeah, they ran for several years. I think they closed in like I want to say somewhere between 2010 and 2012. I don't really know. I wasn't a subscriber at the time. I was for a little bit, but yeah, it wasn't that for the whole thing. So they do not currently exist anymore, which is why these books are getting harder to find now, at least these hardcover editions, because they just don't make them anymore, because the basically the subscription box shut down. I don't even know if they still operate in Norway. So anyways, so after Staubenfeld and Pony Book Club closed in the in North America, they gave the authors the English rights to publish their books, all the authors that they did, and Angela Dorsey is one of them. She's a Canadian author, and she got the rights to reprint the English books, the books in English. So she indie published them and changed the series name from Horse Angel to Horse Guardian. I don't know if that had anything to do with like copyright issues, or she just liked that series title better. All the books except one kept their book titles. The only one that changed was book 6, which in the Pony editions is, let me grab the book, is Frantic Flight. The new edition is now called Slave Child. I have no idea why she changed it to that one, because Frantic Flight is a better title in my opinion, but maybe there were copyright issues with that. I have no idea. So yeah, this is the only one that got a title change. The rest of the books are exactly the same. If you do want to try out the series, because I would recommend it even if you're not a fan of like middle grade books or whatever, because I am not. I did read most of these when I was younger, like I would say probably like between like 12 and 17, something like that. So I was like a teenager when I first read these, and I would say they're really good. The writing holds up well, but yeah, I would say most middle grade doesn't work for me, but these still do. So yeah, in that light, just kind of trying to talk here. Talking is an issue. Dark Fire, which is the first book in the series, is currently free on Kindle. Actually, I think it's always free on Kindle, so you can download it for free and read it and see if you'd like the entire series that way. I would recommend that. I will leave a link to Amazon down below, so you can check that out if you want to. You can also see the different covers of the series that they now have, and you can still find these hardcovers, but yeah, they're getting a little harder now that they're not printed that way anymore. So yeah, that's kind of just the overview, kind of history of the series, why it has two different names. I kind of just wanted to explain that because it does have two different series title names, and that just might be confusing for people. Also, it's like 2 different editions because I have all these, the hardcover editions, but there's also now the paperback Kindle editions, which look very different. So I just kind of wanted to explain all that for anyone who's interested and maybe like, is this even the same book? Yes, they are the same book. They just have different names because of copyright ownership issues and changing and reprinting and republishing and all that. Sometimes a lot of that stuff has to be changed. So, and she also did that for the rest of her series. She has, at the time when she was publishing with Staub & Felt, she had 2 other series plus a standalone. I think now she has another series too. She has a different trilogy that she just indie published. But yeah, I would highly recommend her books if you kind of like supernatural, paranormal type things, because one of her series is about like a ghost horse. I mean, the first book is, but yeah, this one, so yes, like I said, it's a middle grade adventure supernatural series. The supernatural element is our only reoccurring character, who is Angelica. She is basically a horse guardian, horse angel, hence the series title name. She, basically, horses will call to her for help, and like, you know, supernaturally, and she will come to their aid, either just horses on their own or with their owners, which obviously throughout all these books it's with their owners. There are a few, like, because we get her perspective as one of them. Sometimes she has little side adventures where she helps other horses while she's helping the main plot line as well, which are kind of fun. And yeah, most of these books have 3 points of view in them throughout the whole thing. We get Angelica's point of view, we get the main girl's point of view, and we get the villain's point of view. So yeah, most of the time the villain's written in first person. I think some of them are in third. The main girl hero is always in third person, and Angelica's in first. So yeah, it's just a different, kind of, you get a different view of the story through what certain characters are looking at and what is going on at the time. And yeah, it's just it's a really unique format. It's the first book series I ever read that had something like that, and I really liked it. So yes, these can be read out of order too. They're pretty much all self-contained standalone books. None of them cross over into each other at all, except the very end when Angelica's point of view is saying which place she's going to next. Which is how I'm able to match up all these books together to get them in the right order, because these editions don't have numbers on them. So, you know, that was confusing at first, because I was like, what's book 1, book 2? So, when I read it from the back, I can match it up with each book who comes next. So that was helpful when I was first trying to figure out what order these went in. But yeah, you can read them out of order. I certainly did when I first read them, because my library didn't have all of them. So yeah, I pretty much read them all out of order. And yeah, it is a really good series, and yeah, I will now just be going briefly over each one. Oh yeah, they're all take place in different places in the world too. So like, yeah, I'll mention all the places when I get to each book. I'm not going to go into great detail in each of these books because, for one, they're very, very small. I would literally tell you the entire plot. Sorry. And 2, I don't want this video to be infinitely long, forever, so I'm just gonna go over, like, try to do, like, that pitch sentence thing I've mentioned before, which is basically try to say it in, like, a sentence or 2, what the book is about and what's going on and stuff, and just, like, more my personal opinion on each one. So, yeah. We'll just go with that, like, my own personal rating, and if I read these when I was younger or not, things like that. So, we will start with the first book, which is Darkfire. This takes place in England. We follow Lisa. Her family had to sell their estate, due to, like, financial trouble or something, and, but she still goes over and visits their 4 horses that were sold with the estate, and because the new owner, Mr. Pickering, yeah, that's his name, he is very nice, and he wants her to just keep coming over, taking care of the horses and helping him out. But his nephew, Jimmy, is kind of a creep, and Lisa suspects he's not treating the horses well because Mr. Pickering is, like, sick and he needs help and stuff. But then, like, really weird and dangerous things start happening, and yeah, Angelica shows up to help, and she and Lisa have to try to figure out what is going on and, like, how to protect her and the horses from this danger. Yeah, this is the first one I ever read. I picked this one up from my childhood library, and I really, really loved this book. It's one of the first few books that really got me interested, you know, fundamentally in reading. And yeah, it's really good. I would basically describe this almost like a murder mystery. Yeah, it's very intense. I even after, like, literally, I remembered, like, literally almost word for word this entire book. And at one point I got to it, you know, I was getting, like, really tense and stuff, and towards the end, and I'm like, why am I so tense? I know what's gonna happen. Like, literally, I know how this book ends. It really attests to the writer's writing and just how she can still grip you even though you know what's going on and going to happen. I gave this one 5 stars. I just really, really enjoy this one. Lisa's a great character, and yeah, I enjoy all the horses and the adventure of it all, and it's just really, really good, solid beginning to this series. The second book is Desert Song. In this one, I believe we're in Nevada. This is one of the ones where it does not specify where they are, but from there's, like, Mustang herds, and, like, the way she describes the desert with the sagebrush and the, like, canyons and stuff, I believe it is in Nevada, because Nevada does have a lot of sagebrush, and they do have several wild horse herds that live there, so I'm guessing that's where this one is set. This is one of the only ones that does not specify. So, in this one we follow Sophie. She is a foster kid who's just been jumping from home to home all her life, but now that she has found a possible home, forever home, it kind of is a disaster when one of their prized Arabian mares, one of her foster parents' mares, she accidentally gets pregnant to the Mustang stallion, which was Sophie's fault, and Sophie basically hides her away in the desert until, like, the foal's born and she can set her back out with the Mustangs. But the problem is there is a killer mountain lion on the loose who is stalking Araya, that is the mare's name. And yeah, and Angelica shows up and she's like, you gotta take her home because this mountain lion is out to get her. And yeah, this is more, I gave this one 4 stars. Mostly, I don't know, I just didn't really connect with this one a lot. Sophie is a very quiet, reserved character. I did connect a lot with her in just how she approaches things and just how she's always unsure and she just wants to belong and stuff, but she's not fully sure if she does. And yeah, this one was just, I don't know, I just didn't like it as much as Darkfire, but I still do enjoy it. The mountain lion is the villain in this story, so we get his perspective, which is kind of interesting, to get an animal's perspective, but it very feels much like an animal is talking, or at least, you know, thinking in his head and stuff. So, I really like how the author dug into that. He is also a mountain lion that kills for sport. That does happen with wild animals sometimes in your life, so it's a little disturbing as a, you know, someone who owns horses and goats and stuff, and is like, yeah, hope I never have to meet one like that. But yeah, still a really good adventure. Really like this one. Just, you know, not as much as Darkfire, but that's just true of any book, I guess. I did also read this one when I was younger too, but I didn't like it as much, so I only read it once. So this is literally, when on this reread, was the next time I read it. Okay, the third book is Condor Mountain, and I really like the cover of this one. Just the way that, like, her hair is and they're, like, walking through it and stuff. I don't know. I just really like the cover. This one takes place in the Andes Mountains in South America, and we follow Elena, possibly is how you say her name. She gets word from Angelica here that her dad and his horse are trapped in the Andes Mountains. These condors have knocked them off the cliff, or at least their other horse and her father, and literally they are going to die unless she doesn't go and help them. She doesn't believe Angelica at first, but then she eventually goes anyways, and adventure ensues as they try to reach her father and his horse in time before the condors strike again. So this is another one where the villain is the condors, so it's another animal, and yeah, it just felt very real. It's not like the birds were being malicious or anything. They were just being birds, surviving. That's what they do. They knock prey off the cliffs and they eat it after it's dead. This one is a tiny bit gruesome in that respect because they do mention a few times that, because, spoiler alert, one of the horses did die. One of her Elena's father's horses fell off the cliff and died. So the condors are eating the horse. So it's never gruesome, but there are a few things of like them eating that is mentioned. So if you're a little squeamish about that, you might just want to skip this one. Also, this one has more of a magical element beyond Angelica just having her usual powers that come on in the books. Elena also has what they call the sight. I'm not fully sure what it is, but she can like see visions and she can like see ghosts and stuff like that. And there is one section in the book where they have to go through this narrow passage that was like apparently used to mummify children to death. Apparently it was like some ritual thing of like some ancient religion or something like that in the Andes Mountains, which was really gross and really horrible. And they do see the children's ghosts there and stuff like that. So there is a little bit more of a more magical, almost slightly creepy element to this book that some of the other ones do not have. So if you don't really like that type of aspect, you might just want to skip this one. But yeah, I wasn't too sure about that part when I was younger and read this one, but I still really enjoy it. I understand it for what it is now that I'm older and, you know, have read more fantasy and stuff like that and understand more magical type areas and stuff like that. But yeah, if you don't really like that aspect, you could probably skip this one. But I gave this one 4 stars. Anyways, the next one, book 5, is Swift Current. We're in Hawaii for this one, and we follow Allie. She keeps finding things on hers and her mother's ranch, like weird traps are set, buckets will fall on her head. It's like someone's trying to sabotage her and the horses, and she doesn't quite know why. And then things start escalating. A dog chases one of her horses and tries to like bite them. Weird things keep happening around the ranch and stuff, and just, yeah, it's just, and the things are getting increasingly more and more dangerous for Allie and for her horses. So Angelica comes to help, and yeah, it's just, this is a very convoluted story. Basically, the villain in this one is unstable, so she's like insane, and it was really kind of disturbing, but also interesting to kind of see a perspective from that type of person, like her thought process and stuff. It's like, you know, it's just kind of jarring because it's like she thinks she's doing a good thing, but it's like she's totally not. She's like endangering these horses and these people and stuff just because she thinks she's doing the right thing. It's just really, really kind of disturbing when you think about it. So it's very interesting seeing that side of things, but also you're just like, yeah. But yeah, really good adventure. I always loved this one. I will say this one does have a very bittersweet ending. I will leave it at that to avoid spoilers, but if you don't like bittersweet kind of sad endings, yeah, this one might just kind of dampen your mood. But I do like the message at the end of it, despite the bittersweetness of it. So yeah, it's just a heads up if you don't really like that type of thing. I gave that one 5 stars. This was always a favorite of mine when I was younger. Also, it's set in Hawaii, which is a place I really, really enjoy. I mean, like, I've never been there, but I just love Hawaii as a whole, even though I've never been there. And so, yeah, that really contributed to my love of this book. The next one is basically a survival story, and that is Gold Fever. This one we're in I believe it's the Canadian bush, like Canadian wilderness, and we follow Carly. She and her dad are visiting their friend who has like a gold mining, like small gold mining operation for himself that he's found. They're visiting when suddenly his partner suddenly comes out of nowhere, shoots Carly's dad, and he takes off. His horses take off into the wilderness with him, and Carly then discovers that their friend is dead and murdered by his partner, because that's fun. Yeah, and then Angelica just basically comes and tries to help Carly and her dad survive the wilderness while there's a killer on their tail. So this is very much a survival story. It's very fast-paced because obviously they have a time limit because they have to find Carly's dad and before he dies, and then they have to avoid this guy who's trying to kill them, and it's just all these different things. I always really like this one. This is another one where the cover is really pretty. Yeah, I just really like that, and it's very interesting, the parallels between what Carly is going through and the villain's perspective. I thought that was very interesting how the author paralleled those two to it's almost kind of the same thing, but not really. Obviously Carly's not murdering anybody, but yeah, it's just very interesting, that kind of juxtaposition, I believe you would call it, of just these two parallel characters who are very similar but can have different choices in how they decide to do things. And yeah, I always just really liked this one. I think for the very much action adventure aspect and the survival story, if you like survival stories, this one would be probably your cup of tea. I gave that one 5 stars. Again, read this one when I was younger too. Unless I specify, I probably read them when I was younger, because there's only 3, I believe, that I did not read. And the next book is book 6, Frantic Flight, or as it's known now, Slave Child. This one takes place in Haiti, and we follow Giselle. She and her brother have been sold to be child slave laborers. I believe they're called Rustivics, I believe is how you say it. I don't really know for sure, but basically child slave laborers. And but Giselle does not want her brother to live that life. She doesn't want to live that life, so she basically helps her brother and the other kids escape, and they are now on the run along with her pony Domi. And yeah, and Angelica comes and she's helping them to escape, but where are they really gonna go when there's giant mountains and slave labor guys on their tails? And yeah, this one's kind of another survival story. This is more just run for your life and hope for the best type of story, rather than, actual survival. But yeah, this was my absolute favorite book when I was younger. I really loved this. I read this book more times than any of the others in the series. I also really love this cover. It's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite. But yeah, Giselle is just a really brave, really strong, independent character. And yeah, I just loved hers and Angelica's dynamic, and the way they're helping the kids and stuff like that. For all the horses in the series, Domi probably has the least page time, I would say. Now that I've noticed that, it's kind of surprising. But yeah, it's just their survival story, and there was a lot about zombies actually in here, because apparently zombies, at least, is a Haitian myth. Haitian, I believe. Is that how you say that? A myth from Haiti. About, how they originated and stuff. It's just from witch doctors making up this poison that put people to sleep, and they seemed dead, so then when the poison wore off, they were alive again. And it was very interesting because I never knew that. So yeah, it was just very interesting learning about that and how it plays a role in the story as a whole. And yeah, just really, really love this one. Obviously, this one's a 5-star book. And the next one, we are in Mexico. That is Rattlesnake Rock. And we're in Mexico, and Rosa is trying to basically save a herd of Mustangs that are on the ranch owner's property, but he has a thing of, he does not like Mustangs. He also does not like older horses, and he basically just sends them to slaughter when they reach a certain age. So when this Mustang herd is discovered by him, she and Angelica basically try to free them and make sure that they do not get sent to be killed. Yeah, this one is one of my all-time favorites. I read this one a lot as well. Rosa and I are very similar in personality. We're very, we're both shy, but we also just want to, when we really believe in something and stand up for something. We're very fiery about it. And yeah, I just love her personality and her desire to free the Mustangs and make sure that the older horses get the retirement they deserve rather than just, you know, just get killed. And seeing like the ranch owner, who's basically the villain in this book, his perspective and why he does the things he does, and just his change was also really, really good. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this one a lot. And the next one, this is one of the first ones that I did not read when I was younger, and that is Sobakar's Revenge. I believe that's how you say it. It's Egyptian. I do not have no Egyptian, so that could be wrong. If you know how to say that word, please let me know. And this cover is just epic. I love it. Basically, this is one of the ones I did not read when I was younger. My library didn't have it, and I had no other access to it. This is one of the ones that breaks the mold of the perspective limit. This book actually has 4 perspectives. It does not have the usual 3. It is the only book in the series that has this. This treasure hunter, he discovers this cave and he pulls out this artifact that technically has a curse on it. And this curse is unleashed on all the horses nearby because Sobakar, who is our villain here, she was like conquered long, long ago in ancient Egyptian times, and horses were part of it, but she'd never seen a horse before, so she came up with a curse to, if anyone ever pulled out this artifact, it would be unleashed on the horses. And Jumina, our main character, her horses are affected, and she joins with them and Angelica to somehow stop this curse, but the clincher is the curse is also infecting Angelica because she is so connected to horses, and she's a horse guardian, it's affecting her as well. This one's the second most book with extra magic in it, aside from Angelica's abilities, because we have a curse we're dealing with. Angelica and a bunch of the other horses do end up in kind of like this spiritual realm where Sobakar is, and they have to fight that while Jumina is trying to get the artifact and return it to the cave to hopefully stop the curse from going around and stuff. And we also get these perspective, the treasure hunter guy, of like just his journey and why this happened to him and stuff like that, and how it affects his horse and stuff. And it's just it's definitely a race against time type of book. I didn't like this one at first when I read it, because I read this one when I was older, because my library here has it. So I read it from there first, and I didn't really like it that much. I'm not even fully sure why, unless it's because Jumina and Angelica don't spend a ton of time together, and I do like the more books where Angelica's a big part of it. And yeah, it's just very much a book about hope and just holding on to it no matter what, and I do really like that message, and I really enjoyed it the second time around when I read it, which was surprising to me. I didn't really think I would, but I ended up really loving it the second time, and yeah, I can now say it's one of the more favorite books in this series that I like. I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, book 9 is another favorite from my younger years, and that is Mystic Tide. This is set in Ireland, another place I really, really love, never visited, but really, really love it. And we follow Erin. Erin has been kidnapped. She gets kidnapped by these 2 people, and yeah, she's just trying to escape, and she doesn't want to be there, obviously. Who wants to be kidnapped? But and her horse Tally and Angelica are trying to save her. And yeah, it's really I don't know, this one is about the only one I would give a trigger warning to for kidnapping, like child kidnapping or like things like that, because the way Erin's emotions are described, from being kidnapped and then just being dragged along and having her freedom taken away and stuff, it's just very, very emotionally deep, and almost, it's not really disturbing, but it's very deep and it's very real. It feels very, very real. It feels very much like that's how you would feel if you were kidnapped, which I hope I never experience. Hope nobody ever experienced that, because who wants that? But yeah, it's a really horrible thing, and then just how she has to overcome it in the end. And yeah, it's very powerful. I really enjoyed this one. I read this one a lot too when I was younger, so yeah, just really, really like this one. 5 stars. Okay, the 10th book is one I also did not read when I was younger, and that is Silver Dream. This one is one of the only other ones that is not specified where it is. I believe it's Canada, because that's where the author lives. And I thought at first it was Lexington when I first read it, but then she mentioned pine trees, and they don't have pine trees in Lexington. At least, not that I ever saw, but she was like talking about pine tree forest. I know they don't have a pine tree forest in Lexington, so I think it's Canada. So, anyways, we follow Joanna. Joanna has kind of suspected that her neighbor, Mr. Thomas, is a little weird, and like now he suddenly has horses and he didn't before, and she starts to suspect that they might be stolen, but she has no idea why he would be stealing horses. And then Angelica shows up, and she says that she heard a human that she'd helped in the past named David. He had called to her for help, but suddenly went silent, and she does not know where. His voice went silent in Mr. Thomas's yard. So she's like, I have to find him. And Joanna's like, I'll help you. These horses are also stolen too. And it's like, is David's disappearance somehow connected to these stolen horses, and what is going on? And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I like that more people actually know about Angelica in this one. Most of the time, it's just Angelica and the main character, you know, who know about each other and stuff. Very few of the other ones include other people, because Angelica likes to keep it quiet that she was there and stuff. About the only other two so far in the series that I can think of, or three in the series that I can think of that other people knew, was Swift Current, Frantic Flight, and Rattlesnake Rock. There were a few other people who saw Angelica and knew about her, but this is the first one where 3 people actively see and talk to her and are helping her out in her mission to restore these stolen horses and just keep everybody safe and stuff. So I don't know, I just really like that. I just like groups of unlikely people who get together and get along in the end, and are kind of like friends, family, found family, stuff like that. I just really, really like that element in books. So yeah, really like that in this one. This one was a 4-star for me. And the last 2 books, or at least second to last book, the 11th book, is Fighting Chance. This takes place in Kansas, and there's a tornado. Yeah, see the tornado there? I actually didn't even know that was there initially until I looked at it this time. I'm like, oh yeah, the tornado's there. Duh. Yeah, and we follow Chance. She and her friend Hannah are just out riding, but they run across some bullies from their school who bully them and just put them down. And then suddenly a tornado shows up and everything just gets worse. Yeah, this one I only gave a 3.5. Main reason for, well, the positives of it are the tornado chasing them has literally made me never want to live in a tornado area ever again, because it is awful. And just like the descriptions of the tornado chasing them and stuff was just like, yeah, that's good enough for me. I do not need to know anymore. And yeah, just no. Yeah, that was the main good part. I more had issues. Chance is a good friend to Hannah. Chance is our main character here, but I do understand her kind of more hostility towards the bullies and stuff, especially when one of them wants to help and she's a little hostile towards her at first. But I do feel like she crossed a line a few times into almost becoming a bully herself. And that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because she's just kind of very rude at times, and it's like, girl, you're in the middle of a tornado zone, accept the help if you get it, and just, yeah, just unhash things later. And it's just, I don't know, sometimes she rubbed me the wrong way. She did grow by the end, so I'll give her that much, but she did kind of rub me the wrong way, and she almost became the bully she was accusing the other characters of being. So I don't know. Yeah, that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. She was also extremely rude to Angelica. Another reason didn't like this one as much. Angelica really wasn't much in this much. She was in there a little bit, and then she was basically off finding a foal who went missing. So I don't know. It just felt very disconnected in that regard between Angelica and Chance's connection. So yeah, I don't know, it's not a bad book, it just wasn't one of my favorites. And the last book is book 12, Wolfchasm. And this one, we are in the Yukon Territory in Canada. And Claire and her horse Smokey are out for a ride when they get stuck in a blizzard. And they have to take refuge in a cave with a very hostile wolf and her puppies. And yeah, things don't go well from there. And this is my least favorite book. Sadly, it's also the last in this series. Yeah, mainly that's because the main character, Claire, she is extremely angry, hostile, and rude. Like, I get her reasoning why she is in the long run, but I don't know. She's just a very unlikable character, in my opinion. I didn't really like her very much. I didn't like her when I first read this book, because I read this book when it came out. So, and I was very disappointed in it when I first read it, so I only ever read it once. And yeah, I just was very disappointed. I'm still kind of disappointed in it because, I don't know, it's just her attitude and stuff. And basically, her miscommunication causes this whole issue in the book. And it's like, you could have just stayed and heard 2 more words, and then this whole issue wouldn't even be here. And yeah, I don't know, it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Claire rubbed me the wrong way. Her horse was great. I loved Smokey. And again, this is another thing where the wolf is the villain, so it's another animal, and that was very interesting. The wolf's perspective, how her hate and then Claire's journey kind of paralleled each other, like very similar to how Gold Fever did it with Carly and her antagonist. And I don't know, I did like that part. Angelica also wasn't in here a lot. I did actually like her side adventure in this one in Iceland. I thought that should have been this book, actually. But yeah, I don't know, it just, sadly, I just didn't like this one that much, mainly because of Claire. But yeah, it's still well written and stuff, I just didn't like her. So 3 stars for this one. And yeah, that is the entire series. Yeah, and this is a very long video. Wow, sorry for that. Yeah, so that is the whole Horse Angel, Horse Guardian series by Angela Dorsey. Yeah, let me know down below in the comments if you guys have ever read these books, or even heard about them. I would, like I said before, I would highly recommend checking out the free Kindle version of Darkfire, which is book 1. I will leave a link in the description to that. And yeah, you can just download it for free and try it out. Try out the series, see if you'd like it, because they're really good books. Very well written. I highly recommend this author, and if you like the supernatural paranormal type stuff, I think you like a light touch of it, I think you'd really like these books. Or like just want to revisit like reading horse books, like if you were like me and that's all you read when you were younger was horse books. Yeah, it's a great nostalgia read too if you want to do that type of thing. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, you guys. Let me know down below in the comments all your thoughts on what you thought of my review video and this series in particular. And I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.